Has anybody ever told you that your body kills off cancer cells almost every single day and you never even know it happened? Right now, while you're watching this, your immune system is on patrol, hunting, checking every cell it passes for anything abnormal. Most days, it wins without you noticing. No headlines, no drama, just quiet, constant defense running in the background of your life, the way a smoke detector sits silently on your ceiling for years until the one moment it actually matters. But what happens when that patrol slows down, when it starts missing shifts? That's when things slip through. And there's one drink, something you can make in your kitchen in under 2 minutes with ingredients you can find in any grocery store that research suggests may help keep that patrol sharp, support your body's stem cells, and strengthen your natural defenses against cancer. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what it is, why scientists have been studying it for decades, the accidental discovery that first put it on researchers' radar, how to actually make it the right way because most people are drinking it wrong, and what to pair it with for maximum benefit. Stay with me till the end, because the last part is the one most videos skip entirely. Most people think boosting your defenses means supplements, pills in a bottle, a subscription box that shows up every month with a scary price tag attached. Here's what a lot of people don't realize. Some of the most well-studied compounds for supporting your body's natural defenses aren't sitting in a pharmacy. They're sitting in your pantry. And one of them has been consumed daily for over 1,000 years, long before anyone had a microscope to explain why it worked. Monks in old monasteries drank it before dawn. Traders carried it across continents. Nobody back then had a word for antioxidant or catechin. They just knew that the people who drank it regularly tended to stay sharper longer. It took modern science a few hundred years to catch up and explain the why. Here's something most people never hear about, and it's genuinely one of the more interesting accidents in nutrition science. Decades ago, researchers studying plant compounds in a lab weren't even looking at cancer directly. They were mapping how different natural substances interacted with cell growth in general. Green tea extract kept showing up in the data in a way that surprised them. It wasn't behaving like a simple antioxidant. It was interfering with something much more specific, the way cells build new blood vessels. That single, almost accidental observation opened up decades of follow-up research. Labs around the world started testing tea compounds, especially one called EGCG, against the exact same blood vessel growth process that tumors depend on to expand. What started as a side note in an unrelated experiment became one of the more studied areas in plant compound cancer research. That's usually how the biggest nutrition discoveries happen, by the way, not a dramatic breakthrough moment. A weird result nobody expected that somebody was curious enough to actually chase down. Picture your immune system like a security team patrolling a building, checking every hallway, every floor, looking for anything that doesn't belong. Most problems get caught early and quietly escorted out. No alarms, no headlines. Security teams need fuel to work well, though. Clear signals, working cameras, chronic stress, poor sleep, constant inflammation. That's like fogging up every camera in the building. The team's still there. They're just working half blind, missing things they'd normally catch in seconds. This is where a daily habit like matcha-based green tea comes in. Matcha isn't just green tea. It's the whole leaf, stone ground into a fine powder. Regular tea? You steep the leaf and toss it, like dunking a tea bag and throwing away most of what's actually inside it. With matcha, you drink the entire leaf. Nothing left behind. That's the whole point. And here's something most people never learn. About 3 to 4 weeks before harvest, matcha plants are covered with shade. That shade stress forces the plant to produce more chlorophyll and more of the compounds we actually care about before a single leaf is even picked. So matcha isn't just more concentrated tea. It's a plant that's been chemically primed, then consumed whole. That matters, because matcha is loaded with a class of plant compounds called catechins, especially one called EGCG. Scientists have studied EGCG for years because early lab and animal research points to it potentially interfering with how abnormal cells recruit new blood vessels to grow, a process called angiogenesis. Think of it like cutting a supply line before an army can dig in. No blood supply, no fuel, no expansion. Quick correction here, because this trips a lot of people up. Matcha does contain caffeine, but that's not the part researchers are focused on when they talk about these defensive benefits. The caffeine gives you the alertness. The catechins are doing a completely separate job in the background. Think of it like a car with two systems running at once. The engine getting you from point A to point B, and a completely separate air filtration system cleaning the cabin air the whole time. One system doesn't power the other. They just happen to be in the same vehicle. That's matcha. Alertness up front, catechin activity running quietly underneath. Now let's talk about the part almost nobody explains properly: stem cells. Every one of us started as a tiny cluster of stem cells. They're what built your heart, your lungs, your fingertips, every organ in your body, back when you were the size of a grain of rice. Once you were fully formed, most of those stem cells didn't disappear. They got stored away, on reserve, to repair and regenerate tissue for the rest of your life. But here's the darker side of that same biology. Certain disease cells can develop stem cell-like properties too. These are sometimes called cancer stem cells in research. And scientists believe they may be part of why some conditions come back after treatment appears successful, because these specific cells can behave differently from the rest of the cell population, potentially resisting standard approaches better than ordinary cells do. There's currently no approved medical treatment specifically targeting these cells. That's an active, unsolved area of research, and any doctor working in the field will tell you the same thing. Which is exactly why early findings on EGCG and related compounds have caught researchers' attention. Some laboratory studies, done in controlled lab settings, not yet proven the same way in large human trials, have examined whether EGCG and related green tea compounds may affect these more resistant cell populations. It's early-stage science. It's promising. It is not a guarantee, and nobody studying this would tell you otherwise. Now, some of you are thinking, nice theory. I'm not restructuring my life around a cup of tea. Fair enough. Nobody's saying matcha replaces your doctor, your screenings, or your treatment plan. This isn't medicine. If you take one thing from this video, take that. Here's where it gets interesting though. This isn't just a theory sitting in a lab dish. Population studies, real people, tracked over years, sometimes over decades, have repeatedly linked higher green tea and catechin intake with better long-term health markers in the groups studied. Not one study either. It's a pattern researchers keep seeing across multiple countries, multiple decades, multiple research teams who don't even know each other. That's usually the strongest kind of signal in nutrition science. Not one flashy headline, a quiet, boring pattern that keeps repeating no matter who's looking at it. The same way a rumor that turns out to be true keeps getting confirmed by people who've never spoken to each other. Here's where most people get it wrong, and it's worth pausing on because technique changes everything. You don't want to dump boiling water straight onto matcha powder. Boiling water can actually damage some of the delicate compounds you're trying to get in the first place. It's like torching the very thing you came for. Let your water cool to around 175 to 185 degrees Fahrenheit, roughly 2 minutes off a full boil. Sift about half a teaspoon of matcha into your cup first. Sifting matters because matcha clumps easily, and clumps mean you're not actually drinking all of it evenly, you're just swallowing chunks and leaving the rest behind. Add a small splash of that warm water, whisk it into a smooth paste using a bamboo whisk or even a small handheld frother. Then add the rest of the water and whisk briskly in a W motion until it's frothy on top. That's it. 2 minutes, 1 cup, and you're getting the whole leaf, not a diluted steep. One more tip. Buy from a source that tells you the harvest date, not just best buy. Matcha loses potency over time once ground, so a bag that's been sitting on a shelf for a year isn't giving you the same punch as freshly milled matcha. Matcha doesn't work alone either. Pair it with foods that support the same systems, and you're not relying on one single ingredient to do all the work. Cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and Brussels sprouts bring sulforaphane to the table, a compound studied for its role in your body's natural detox pathways. Berries, strawberries especially, carry ellagic acid, linked in research to healthy blood vessel signaling, the same supply line idea we talked about earlier. Walnuts and other tree nuts have also been studied for similar blood vessel-related pathways, and they make an easy daily habit alongside your matcha. And then there's your gut. A gut lined with good bacteria from real fermented foods like sourdough made the traditional way or live culture yogurt helps keep inflammation in check. That matters because chronic inflammation is one of the environments where problems tend to take hold and grow, the same way a small ember catches faster in dry brush than damp ground. None of this is magic on its own. Stacked together daily over years, that's not a gimmick. That's how prevention actually works. Slowly, quietly, in the background, the same way your immune system already works. Before we wrap up, here's the part that usually gets left out of videos like this. Consistency matters more than intensity. 1 cup of matcha today and none for the next 3 weeks isn't going to move the needle much. The research that shows meaningful associations is almost always looking at people with sustained daily habits over years, not people who tried something once and gave up. This is a long game. It's not a miracle shot. It's a brick laid daily on a wall you're building over decades. So if you're going to start small, but start consistently. 1 cup a day, same time, same habit, until it's just part of your routine, like brushing your teeth. Nobody thinks twice about brushing their teeth. Give this the same status in your day, and in a few years, you won't even remember what it felt like not to do it. So here's the simple version. 1 cup of real matcha a day, made the right way, paired with a few key foods, is a small habit backed by real, ongoing research, not hype. If this kind of video helps you cut through what's actually worth your time, you're going to want to watch this one next.